DETV News is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
NASCAR was a washout for the Monster Mile on Sunday. Sallies is getting an even bigger sports complex, and a Delaware beach lover's favorite is going nationwide. Those stories and more are coming up next. You're watching DETV News. Hello and welcome to this DETV News update. I'm Lauren Wilson. Topping the news tonight is a murder-suicide. Delaware State Police are heading up an investigation that started with a 911 call on Saturday night from the 1800 block of Veal Road in Wilmington. When investigators arrived, they found an 87-year-old man and an 86-year-old woman dead inside the home from apparent gunshot wounds. Police say the elderly man had possession of the gun. Anyone with information can call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-847-3333. Speaking of guns, a permit to purchase program got one step closer to becoming a reality in Delaware. Lawmakers in Dover cleared the first legislative hurdle for a proposal requiring anyone who wants to buy a handgun be fingerprinted first. The proposal would also require buyers to undergo training and obtain permission from the state to even buy the weapon. The bill was released from the Senate Judiciary Committee with no Republican support. It's now headed to the Finance Committee and is expected to be passed to the full Senate for a vote this Tuesday. Supporters like Senator Tizzy Lockman call it a common sense measure. She says it's aimed at reducing the number of gun homicides and suicides, while also making it more difficult for people to buy a gun illegally through straw purchases. That's when people buy a handgun on behalf of someone prohibited by law to have one. Now, critics say the bill is too costly and puts an unnecessary burden on law-abiding citizens. More news from the Dover Capitol. Delaware State Police celebrated its centennial. 100 years ago, the General Assembly and then Governor Will Denny took steps to create the agency. The celebration took place at Legislative Hall. It included plenty of vintage pictures taken over the years of Delaware State troopers. In addition to the photos, there was also tributes and remarks made by elected officials and law enforcement leaders. There was also a fashion show of past uniforms worn by state troopers. At the time DSP was created, only 215,000 people lived in the entire state, and the governor's top concern was motorists speeding up to 35 miles an hour. The celebration ended with the reading of the names of troopers who lost their lives in the line of duty. In more news from police, a Pennsylvania man was arrested for intentionally dumping nails and screws on the roads to entrances of various communities in Hockessin. Newcastle County Police charged 31-year-old Scott Taylor with 2 felonies, criminal mischief, and stalking, along with other misdemeanor charges. Investigators say Taylor was targeting a specific person, but his criminal acts left homeowners in the area with plenty of flat tires. Taylor was taken to the Howard Young Correctional Center on $5,000 bail. In other news, Sallies Stadium is getting turf fields thanks to a $10 million donation. That's not all. The Abacino Stadium will be getting a new building and a varsity baseball field. The complex will have 2 multi-size, multi-purpose fields on the lower level with hillside seating. The school is also said to be considering construction of an additional indoor gym on the lower level as well. The upper level will include a varsity field with bleachers at home plate. The generous gift was given to the Catholic school by Anthony Fusco, and the new athletic complex will be named in his honor. If you've noticed more RVs on the major roads leaving from Dover, which made your drive a little bit longer, blame it on Mother Nature. That's because Sunday's big race around Dover's Monster Mile was postponed until Monday. The rainy weather led to a big disappointment for thousands of NASCAR fans. The wet weather also canceled or postponed practice and qualifying rounds that were set to take place on Friday and Saturday. The nation's top NASCAR drivers and all of their fans converged on Dover for the big race. Workers dressed for the rainy weather, and those hardcore NASCAR fans, well, if you've ever been to the race in Dover or just driven past the speedway off of Route 1, you already know nothing keeps them away. And there were some raindrops in Wilmington too, but not enough to stop a neighborhood cleanup in the Lower Hilltop community. Kaylin Pride has more on that story.
We as a community and people have to see the bigger picture.
It was a cloudy and rainy day, but that didn't stop members of the community from organizing the Lower Hilltop Community Cleanup and Resource Fair.
Even though the rain kind of stopped us from doing a lot of the cleanup, we brought together a lot of resources for the community. So we're here with Christiana Care, Delaware State Housing Authority, the Latin American Community Center, and so many others.
So, you have Lower Hilltop and you have West Center City, right? So my thing is it's always been a divide, and it takes time, but I'm working together with all the communities so we can close that gap and we can have the same initiative. So my thing is whatever I'm doing over here in the Lower Hilltop, I want to do in West Center City.
Organized by City Councilwomen Brigida Fields and Maria Cabrera, members of the community were encouraged to check out the Wilmington Land Bank's new properties as part of their community open house.
What we're doing here is called the Hilltop Initiative. It's an equitable housing initiative. There's a concentration of vacants in one area, and we call it's Lower Hilltop area. And what we're trying to do is buy up the vacants and revitalize the neighborhood.
These homes were vacant. They were a detriment to the community. People were hanging out. There was drug use. There was just all kinds of things going on. And now they're for sale. You're talking 4-bedroom homes, very spacious, modern amenities.
We're taking one block at a time and we're rebuilding it, revitalizing it to show that the community, you can own a home in your community. You can, take care of this and this can be yours.
To learn more about the properties in this area, head to wilmingtonlandbank.org. For DETV News, I'm Kaylin Pride.
And finally tonight, business has been popping so much for Delaware's well-known Fisher's Popcorn, the company announced plans to expand. A new $5 million facility will go up in Frankfort. It will produce 30 to 35 bags of fresh kettle popcorn in just a minute. The company will start selling one of Delaware's favorite beach treats by offering classic flavors to customers all around the country. The expansion will create another 20 jobs, but more than that, Governor John Carney says he's grateful the community business that has been around for 40 years will keep production and wholesale operations right here in the Diamond State where it all began. That's going to do it for this DETV News Update. Be sure to watch us on all social media platforms and on Comcast Channel 28. I'm Lauren Wilson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.